Ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and for the millions watching at home, DCK Productions proudly brings to you the greatest podcast in the world! The greatest podcast in the world? Suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. I appreciate it if you both suck it. Suck it! Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome everybody to Suck It. A little technical difficulties there, but no big deal. How is everybody tonight? I am the great and powerful, the Prince of Awesome, the King of Kings, Derek. Not joined tonight by my lovely Nicole, but she is here in spirit, and as she, sings that song that brings us in every night. So heck, even if she's not here tonight, she's still with us technically because that's her vocals. So anyway, we have a good night planned for you, even though it's just me. I have an amazing artist in my green room right now, by the name of April Doyle. I'm going to bring her on here in a moment, but first I want to go ahead and introduce her to you guys by showing you who she is and letting you listen to a little bit of her music and seeing, kind of going from there. So before I bring her on, here is her latest single, La Belle Sands.
Dansons tout dit, et moi je suis, mes pas sont gauches, mes pieds tout gauche. Je prends les sauts, je cherche en bas les mots pour m'expliquer ta vie. Alors tout ma soeur, tout brise mon cœur. Je pense tous ces erreurs, jamais j'écoute tout pas. Je ne comprends pas bien la belle dans son regret. La belle dans son regret. J'ai tout ri, je chante tout cri, tout sème les grains dans mon péchan, mon blé symbole, tout en aura le bol. J'entends toujours mes cris sont sourds, tout ma sourd, tout brise mon cœur. Je pense que c'est erreur, jamais j'écoute tout pas. Je ne comprends pas bien la belle dans son regret. La belle dans son regret. La belle dans son regret. Dansons tout dit et moi je suis. Mes pas sont gauche, mes pieds tout fauche. Tout m'amasse, tout brise mon cœur. Je pense que c'est erreur jamais. Dansons tout dit et moi je suis. Mes pas sont gauche, mes pieds tout fauche. Tout m'amasse, tout brise mon cœur. Je pense que c'est erreur jamais. La belle dans son regret. La belle dans son regret.
All right, I'm gonna edit that part out of the the equation. So I will. So the live audience will never know. I mean, the recorded audience will never know. But without further ado, I'm going to bring her on now. Please welcome to the show, April Doyle.
Hey man, how are you?
Doing well, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
Sorry about the little technical difficulty there.
You know what? It is what it is.
I forgot to hit the little button that said share sound.
I always think it's me. I always think I got to be doing something wrong.
No, thank God a listener text messaged me, and they were like, "Hey, that's not right."
Technical challenge.
Yes, exactly. So, how are you this evening?
I'm good. I dawned on me I'm still wearing my COVID outfit here. It's just been a weird time that nobody expected. So just kind of dealing with it. And I hope that things are easing back into some normalcy, but that remains to be seen because I guess everyone's really worried about round 2 of this thing.
Yeah.
Which was not good.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of places are, we're getting, I mean, where I'm at in Virginia, my governor just announced that on July 1st, we're moving into phase 3 of reopening, which is like 75% capacity and a bunch of other things. And like gatherings of like 250 people and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how this goes because like Florida fully reopened and my family is down there. And like their numbers have like doubled since they're reopened. So I'm kind of confused on what's going to happen next, but who knows?
Well, they said some stuff today. I'm in San Diego, like on the north San Diego, like and they were announcing that they are going to allow public gatherings again, like weddings, convention centers, etc. So for my corporate band, which is kind of like our day job, Haute Chile Productions, we've been, it just came to a screeching halt, of course, because we do these large events, and it's like these are all industry guys. Some of them are on that video, which are amazing. But our day job stuff is like a lot of people don't know what corporate entertainment is, and it's like a lot of headliners stay alive through corporate entertainment, like major ones like Earth, Wind and Fire, Kool and the Gang. I mean, Bon Jovi. There's all these bands that just make a lot of money at these private corporate events, like to keep the morale of the companies going and stuff. So I'm hoping that starts up again soon for everybody because musicians, it's not a 9 to 5. There's no gigs. There's not usually much coming in.
Yeah.
Unless they're making money off of songs that they've written or they're being still used and bought and all that. But
yeah,
it sure takes a chunk out of your everyday income.
Oh, I mean, of course. I mean, because especially nowadays, very rarely do you make money off of the songs you release. I mean, full-length albums or just a single, whatever. It's all in the touring. So if you're not touring, you're not making money. So I definitely understand that.
Well, and touring changed dramatically too, because it used to be, remember tours were like 6-8 months, sometimes a year long, and now they're like, what, 2 months, 3 months? There are some longer ones, but everything's changed. Technology's got its pluses and minuses.
Yeah. I mean, tours, like you said, tours used to be 8-9 months long, and now, but the bands will still be touring for 8-9 months, but they'll have 3 different tours that they'll do within that time period because they'll go on, tour with one band, and then they'll go on tour with another band, and then they'll go on tour with another band. Yeah. So I mean, it's a definite change from how it used to be. I mean, I'm only almost 40, so I mean, I've haven't been around it, so I mean, as long as you have. So, I mean, I haven't seen it, the drastic change that you have, but I've still seen it change.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's talk about that song we just played.
Okay.
So I've listened to a lot of not a lot, but I've listened to some of your songs. And why French for that song? Oops.
I adore French. It was my first language. And that's a song. Sting put that out X amount of years ago, and I never forgot that song, and I just loved it. I loved the vibe of it, and we kind of personalized it a little bit. with this project, which is kind of a mixy mix of, you know, jazz and R&B and a little neo soul stuff. The project started out actually all like, I wanted to just record some like classic songs that my mother had played for me that I just loved. Because I've always been doing work for other people, like this corporate show thing, all these like concert type functions were my deal. And everybody would say to me over the years, where's your songs? Where's your album? Blah, blah, blah. So I finally decided to do it, started to record some of these classic tunes that I love. And it kind of morphed into, out of the creative juices that were flowing through me and Kevin Flournoy, who was the producer, musical director, etc. He's the musical director for Pointer Sisters. He works with Babyface, Chaka Khan, a lot of our major R&B acts. And we just started, these original songs were just coming out. And so it kind of started to morph, like, for lack of a better term, into this R&B, sophisticated jazz, R&B, neo soul thing out of these classic songs. So the whole album is done, but we might end up doing 2 EPs out of it, and because of the vibe of the songs, you know, through the whole project, it started changing.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
It's funny that you mentioned that you might do it in 2 different EPs versus a 1 album, because there was a quote not too long ago by one of my favorite artists, and I'm more of a metal rock guy. One of my favorite artists by the name of Ronnie Radke, who's his lead singer for Falling in Reverse, said that they're no longer going to put out full-length albums. They're going to release multiple singles in a year, and that's all they're going to do. And then they're going to do, you know, so they've already released 2 singles this year, and they'll probably do a couple more, and then that's it. And he thinks that's the way to go. So, I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think that it's totally a way to go, because it's the way the whole industry has changed. You don't really need to put out, you know, some people feel like if you put out some project and it's got like 10, 12 songs in it or more, that they can kind of get wasted. They can kind of get more attention drawn when you're, you know, release them like one at a time and push them. And then more people, you know, become aware of it. And then you probably will get more love and more attention, more everything on the song with it released as a single. Then maybe it gets kind of like, you know, lost in the shuffle of an album. And, you know, how many people are downloading full albums anymore? You know, I mean, unless it's somebody classic that you have adored forever. I mean, maybe, you know, the best of kind of albums people will download of, you know, of classics, Earth, Wind and Fire and all that, you know, whatever. Of course, all my references are usually R&B. But we should talk about the rock vocals, though. I have some interesting. Who do you think is the best rock vocalist of all time? You being a rocker,
of all time?
Okay, one of the. Yeah, I know that's a huge question.
Yeah, because that's yeah. So the best rock vocalist. Well, I mean, I can be, you know, cliche and say Freddie Mercury, obviously.
Yeah, he's definitely on the list.
He's definitely in my top 10. I would definitely say that. But nowadays, you've got so many male and female vocalists that have such a range, you know, 4 octaves in some cases and stuff like that, and can just belt it out like there's nobody's business, and have these, you know, go up and down, you know, throughout an entire song and just impress you. So honestly, right now, I would say like the best vocalist right now on the rock side, and I would venture to say it would kind of go across all genres because of how good he is, would be Corey Taylor of Slipknot. You know,
there's a lot of good talent out there, but it just doesn't seem to hit the level of what they used to back in the day. These are people that I wasn't even into, and the more I got into music as a business, I would like go, man, I never really heard that voice before. And now I hear it and I'm like, man, it's like, who sings like that? Who's the dude? Oh, the dude from remember the Scorpions? Yes. The deal was, they said he had an operation and they put something metal in his throat so he could hit 2 notes at the same time. I don't know if you've heard that. I heard that.
That's an urban legend, I probably would assume. But no, I mean, Yeah, Corey Taylor would definitely be up there because he's got two different bands. He's got Stone Sour and he's got Slipknot. And Stone Sour, he sings all the time, and then he's got Slipknot where he screams and sings and does everything. But I think that guy just has a vocal range. I think he's got 4 octaves, and he's powerful. He's a good down to earth guy. I've met him before,
Nice.
and he has just a good stage presence. Because I mean, I think nowadays with all the different bands and all the different touring, not only do you need that good vocal range, but at the same time, I think you need to be a powerful front person for up on stage as well.
Definitely.
And I think he definitely has that characteristic in him.
Cool. It's very cool.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, I mean, I would say of all time, definitely, I think Freddie Mercury would be up there, and then currently, Corey Taylor, and then. But there's so many, especially, and, like I said, I'm a hard rock guy, but, I do appreciate other genres. I do appreciate jazz, and I do appreciate R&B, because I'm a person that believes in playing music versus creating it on your computer.
Yeah.
I actually had a conversation with a producer a few weeks back on the show with my co-host, Nicole. And we had this exact same discussion, how do you feel about, the keyboard warriors who download Pro Tools and just, make songs that way and don't ever do anything else beyond that? He's like, I think it's ruining the business. And I agree.
Well, I can give you my 5 cents on that because I experienced it firsthand. I was doing a lot of jingles, and I came in after everybody was making all this money. Like one jingle, like for Disney or something, you would hear that the singer made like 800 grand, 400 grand, 500 grand, whatever. Mm-hmm. So when I came in doing this is probably, I don't know, early 2000s when I was singing a lot of jingles. Mm-hmm. People were putting stuff out from their garage. So this didn't come from Powerhouse in New York. It didn't come from, Westlake up in LA. It was coming from people's garages. So the average Joe was getting a shot at getting one of their tunes on radio, TV, movie, whatever. But the money flipped. And so the big thing that I did first was Ralph's. Mm-hmm. In Southern California. I did that. They played it for a long time, but they held it for 6 months so that I wouldn't get 5, 6 digits on it. They held it, and then by the time they played it, I got I don't know. It was, considering I got like $6,000, it was ridiculous compared to what they used to get.
Oh wow!
But I joined SAG. I used it to join SAG, so that was. The money is nothing. I just thought it was, awesome. Here's my opportunity to become a SAG member because of the label. But everything changed. So the average Joe can be a part of the music industry, but this huge dollar deal is done unless you're a Disney kid, and now the real little kids are getting a shot now. I mean, they're putting these, projects together with like 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds. Mm-hmm. Across the board, internationally, people don't really care what your deal is. Of course, they're more accepting in Europe than they are in the U.S. Of course, over here, they still want you to be fit into these very specific
niches.
Yeah, that are right in the moment. Like right now, what's happening right now, Whereas internationally, if it's classic and it's got some good feel to it and you're good at what you do, they don't really care. Yeah. It's an odd thing. We've got the boy band, I was going to say it's almost like machinery, the boy band machinery thing coming out of Japan, and they're good. I mean, they are ridiculously good. There's other band, not what's the main group? BTS?
Yeah, aren't they Korean though?
You're right. Yes, they're Korean.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're but all out of Asia. There's almost like the school where these kids go and live there, and
Mhm.
they eat, sleep, drink, dance, singing, everything, and it comes out like, and it's flawless. But I don't know, like you said, it's the synthetic thing is tired, and people want to hear real musicianship. Like
Yeah.
they're drawn to real vocals. Somebody can really play guitar, really play the piano. Music is, I guess, everything goes in cycles, and it's the synthetic thing, the dance, all the weird mechanical dance stuff is I don't think that's ever going to go because of the clubs and all that.
Yeah.
And then how people are mixing it. There are some people that are very talented and can mix the hell out of stuff, but I don't know. It is very mechanical. It is. That's why
It is. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, especially if you go, like you were saying, to Europe, and like again, I'm going to use rock references. If you go to some of these festivals that are over in Europe, whether it be Download Fest or Rock Am Ring or whatever, the Latitude Fest or whatever the case might be, they bring on real bands, but not necessarily all rock. I mean, it's all different genres, but they're some of the biggest festivals in the world over there, and they're Germany, England, Russia, everywhere, and they're just huge. And we have our festival month in the month of May, April, but the amount of people that go to these is nowhere near what they do in Europe, and I find that disheartening. I really do.
Well, I think it's got something to do with technology and how it's affecting every part, and not all bad. I mean, think about this. You could be paraplegic, and you could be stuck at home, and you can get on your computer and go see down in the streets anywhere in the entire world. You can go and watch, full on operas, concerts, movies, ballet, whatever. I'm just saying there is amazing stuff that's available because of technology.
Correct.
Everything, every aspect of the brain, science, math, music, anything. But then there's the aspect of, when we were kids, we were out playing. We weren't stuck on our phone for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
It's like things have changed, like from the ground up. And some of it's
wholeheartedly agree.
Good and some of it's bad.
Yeah.
I think it's just finding that balance,
Yeah. And and I agree with you. And it does, the technology does open up a lot of new doors for people that would have never had opportunities before.
Right.
But at the same time, like I said, I think it stifles people's creativity because they're limited by what they can do limited what they can do by a computer. And I'm talking about an artist on that end.
Yeah.
So like now, don't get me wrong. If you're a guitarist and you're separated from your bandmates and you want to, try to come up with a track and, whatever else, using Pro Tools for the drums and the bass, I get, and you're playing real guitar and just kind of get an idea. And then you can take it back to your band and say, hey, let's do it like this. Or, hey, what about this? That's a different story. But if all you're going to do is put everything into a computer, make a drum beat, make a guitar riff, and then, put it out like that, I have a problem with.
No, the synthetic stuff, and it's getting better and better. Right behind me, I have wow, I just blanked on the name of it. I've got a Yamaha deal behind me, and every single instrument, it's a 16-track studio, like on a keyboard. I don't even know how to fully use this thing, but every single, the basic sound of it, it sounds like a Yamaha Grand. That's the basic sound of it. Unless if you want to flip, the only thing I can really hear the synthesis on is the horns, like wind instruments. They still have to work on that, but it's unbelievable how, and I pride myself on being able to go, oh, that's real, that's fake, but there's some string sections on a lot of songs that are out there now that have fooled me. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing what they're doing. It's getting more and more real. Again, like you say, it's not the same as, just somebody hands-on playing an instrument. they've got some, real talent, and they're showing it by the, you can make yourself sound like, you can play a violin or something just because you did one note at a time on a keyboard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then put it on a loop and just
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. So it's like Joe Blow can sound like a finessed violinist, which he has no idea how to even pick it up and hold it. But I don't know, is that bad? Is that good? If you feel something creatively and you want to put like something down, and you're like, man, a violin would be great right here, and you go to your Yamaha, you play it. I don't know. Is that bad?
No, I think that aspect of it is okay. Like, say, for instance, you're wanting to get this album out, you're wanting to do it, and you have the opportunity to go ahead and just do the, synthetic violin or whatever, and then you take an actual violinist on tour with you. That would be different.
Yeah, true.
So that piece of the puzzle, I do agree with you, because especially if you're working in a small studio, being able to get a 5-piece or even a 3-piece, additional strings in there with you, that would be a little bit difficult. So maybe synthesizing that, or, whatever the case might be, I can kind of understand that. But the entire song or everything else like that, that's, like I said, I think that's part stifles it, because most of the time they just kind of create a couple different riffs and then put them on loops and just kind of let it go.
Yeah. And I don't really know how to put it into words, but it just doesn't seem like the synthetic deal is ever going to match the heart that is put into a real musician playing and feeling, and you know what I'm saying? It's just not the same.
Correct.
And it doesn't mean it's not going to be a good song, a nice part, but it's just not the same. And I think most people can feel it. It's different when a musician is really coming out and has some kind of can really play an instrument and puts his heart and soul into the song, because he's really feeling it and really playing it. There's something to that can't be stolen by the computer. I don't know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Absolutely. And especially with the ones that do nothing but synthesize, like some of the rappers and some of the R&B artists, some, not all, like I said, some, but then they go and compare themselves to live acts. I'll never forget this, and he's never going to live this down. I think for as long as he lives, Kanye West years ago compared himself to the Beatles. It's like, dude, they played their own live music and they came out of nowhere and did it all on their own. How many people does it take to write one of your songs? How many people does it take to do what you do? And they did it on their own.
He calls himself Jesus. Okay, he's comparing himself to Jesus. So I don't really give that any.
I don't either. I don't get, but my point is, like, those types of, there's other people out there that do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of gets disheartening that, these people think that, just because they put out a good beat and they can rap really well or whatever the case might be, that they're as good as some of the greatest bands of all time.
I don't think it's as good as, I think it's just different. I'm hip hop. I come from hip hop and from, despite my color, which I'm so tired of this color conversation. That's a whole other thing.
Me too.
Because it's got nothing to do with anything. The thing is, it's just like the color needs to be a non-issue. It needs to be respect and people being treated for, are you the right person for the job? Did you mess up? It's not about the color. So I think I'm not against anybody saying Black Lives Matter, of course, but all lives matter. It's just, we need to get beyond this, what color are you? Are you yellow, red, green? We need to get beyond that and start. We're human beings, and everybody needs to be treated the same way. And whether you're being, chastised for something you did wrong, or whether you're getting the same wages, or it shouldn't matter what your religion is, what your sexual orientation is. None of that matters. It just matters, like there should be just like across the board for human beings. Whenever, I don't mean to go off on that, but back to the hip hop thing. It's like I'm part of hip hop culture, and like that's to be alive when a new culture starts. That's pretty interesting.
It is.
And there's a lot of, just like any style of music, there's a lot of junk and there's a lot of great stuff. But I will say that most of the people that I talk to say rap is crap. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. There's brilliant rappers. There's brilliant people in all parts of music. And then there's junk. You know, who's buying it? Who's buying the junk to support it?
Yeah. Oh, no, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I mean, I'm not a big fan of rap, but I have mad respect for a lot of them, you know, especially like Eminem. That guy has a musical instrument in his mouth. I mean, that guy is phenomenal. Dr. Dre, same thing. You know, those types of people, you know, but a lot of these newer style, you know, those mumble rappers are giving rap a bad name.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I don't know what anyone's talking about anymore, because talking about, you know, bitches and drugs and all that, it's tired.
Yeah.
So what are you going to talk about? What do you know? Some people are still trying to keep that alive, and it's like, wah, wah, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's and then you know, some people are doing full on spoken word, and that's really cool. That's creative, and people it's very lyrically brilliant. You know, there's something to the lyrics. More than the beat, you know. So there's another aspect of, or like the spotlight on what their focus is. I don't know. I listen to this stuff now, and I'm like, you know, when you go to the grocery store in the middle of the night, what do you hear? Of course, maybe people don't go to the grocery store in the middle of the night. Point being, when you go to these places where, an elevator, for example, what songs are they playing? They're pretty much playing stuff from the 70s and the early 80s. They might be playing some Adele. They might be playing some people that are a little more, some of the people that you might hear about in 10 years from now. Most of the people that are out there now, you're not going to hear their names in 10 years. And that's part of everybody being able to flood the industry with stuff out of their garage. It's a cool thing. It's a cool thing to be able to get a pat on the back for, you know, look, I just did this and they liked it and it's getting played. Good for you. That's cool. But the classic artists that are not going to disappear, I don't know what the deal was in that music coming from the 70s and 80s, and they keep playing it, and they keep the James Taylor and the Carly Simon and the Earth, Wind and Fire, all that stuff that you always hear like in the store or it's interesting, like why it's still playing regularly. And so a lot of this current stuff is just, it's played in certain areas and on the stations that you want to listen to, but it's almost like it doesn't measure up to playing in certain areas. I don't know. I'm kind of talking myself into this here.
No. I mean, I kind of agree with you on that. Because like, you know, when it comes to like a grocery store or anywhere else like that, and they have those types of songs, those songs are more well known, you know, across the board. Everyone could kind of say, oh, I know who this is, or I know who that is. But at the same time, I think a lot of that stuff from back in that time, some of the stuff that's played is also more family friendly. And I think today we are more likely to push the boundaries of what we can say and what we can't say more now than ever before, because of all this, you know, the Black Lives Matter stuff and all the LGBTQ rights stuff and everything like that everyone's pushing the boundaries. So a lot of the stuff that's coming out that's pushing those boundaries don't have a place inside of a grocery store too.
Yeah, because it's, I guess it's growing pains, you know, so it's not comfortable in a lot of different arenas, you know, like like you said, the LGBT, we have done we did that. They don't do it anymore down here. We did the it's LGBTQ. There's something else added that I can't keep track of.
They added an I too, but yeah.
And we did that event. I had some people, you know, we're the corporate sweethearts, and I had some people asking me, why were we doing that event? And I said, why wouldn't we do that event?
Yeah, why not?
We do it, you know. It's like, as long as people are treating me and my people in my company respectfully, and it's you know, I'm not going to. I will work with anybody if they're respectful and they're, and we make an agreement and everybody keeps their end of the bargain. And, that's the way it should be. It's the way it should be in the world. People should treat each other the way we all want to be treated. And if you are treated that way, why wouldn't you engage? Unless you have, if you got personal stuff going on. I mean, racism and all this stuff. It's a lot of times it's cultural, and that's really difficult because I can't go to you and say your culture is wrong or what your mom and dad told you was wrong. That's a tough one because they have to learn on their own, and how are they going to learn that? And
if you told me that what my mom and dad told me were wrong, I'd probably agree with you.
I would too, actually. I would too. I'm like the weirdo in the family. I'm like, bring it on, let's do it. Let's, of course I'm the only one that I don't have kids and stuff, but I've been like, kind of living like a rock star for a while, traveling around and until all the craziness. But just a very different life than the people in my family. And
yeah, and I'm the same way. I mean, I've been in the entertainment industry now for going on 20 years. I started in the music business. I was, a guitarist and a singer for a long time, and down in the Orlando area. But the music scene in Orlando is very weird, and everyone's very picky. And it's, after a few years of that, I just said, as much as I love music, I can't do this anymore. And then I transitioned to something else, and I did that for 15 years. And now, now I'm a stand-up comic, and I do this. I love the entertainment business. There's so many aspects of it. And, it's all about chasing your dreams and, entertaining the masses. But every time I talk to my dad or every time I talk to my mom, they're like, well, how are you making money? Don't you need to get a real job? No.
Yeah, what you're doing is not real.
It's not. It's pretty real. Trust me. I work, 60 hours a week, talking to PR people, talking to, people like you, talking to managers, talking to this, arranging this and putting together graphics and then doing that. And then it's a full-time job. And this is when I'm not touring, going on the road for comedy. I mean, when I go on the road for comedy come the fall and I'm doing this, it's going to be crazy.
Oh, that's cool. So you go on tour for your
I'm hoping to arrange some. I'm working on something right now. Yes.
Right on.
Yes, I haven't announced it yet. Nothing's 100% confirmed yet. But it's in the works. So once that comes out, yeah.
High five to you for that. I mean, comedy's a whole other thing. Because I'll tell you what, a lot of people think singing is difficult. But see, if I'm on stage and I screw something up, there's a full band playing behind me, and Joe Blow's not going to notice it because they're going to just hear the music. If you're on stage and something goes off, it's in your face. It's in your lap. It's like comedy that's a tough one, man.
It is. But, I prepared myself, and I did something else for 15 years. And what I did for that 15 years was I was actually a professional wrestler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I did that up until 2013 when I broke my neck.
Holy.
But I was actually in a car accident. It wasn't in the ring. So during that time period, I learned a lot about crowd control, learning what to say, what not to say, and how to say things. I took a lot of acting lessons. I did a lot of Broadway stuff, never performing, but learning from some of these people and taking classes with some of these people. Therefore, I could learn how to control a crowd. Because, being in a wrestling ring and talking to a crowd of whether it be 100 people or 20,000 people, you have to learn how to control a crowd. Yeah. And when you're up on stage for comedy, it's the exact same thing. So if you ever slip up and say something wrong, you better have something in your back of your head real quick to come back with, and whatever the case might be. And as long as you have that good crowd control, it's great. And that's one thing I do pride myself is that crowd control.
Did you hear that Eddie Murphy's going back on tour?
I cannot wait.
That is going to be epic. And there's a few people that just say the stuff that kill me. George Lopez is one of them. George Lopez can work a crowd, and he says stuff, and the way he owns it. Like, he gets up there, he's got what we were just talking about. He's got a black belt in that. He gets up there, and the way that one last concert I saw a while ago, when he gets up and he goes, "Beach," he's cursing at everybody. He goes, I just said welcome. And he's like, I don't know. That's a
Yeah.
example of what he does. But just you see it in his eyes. He just owns it.
Yeah.
Well, I love watching that.
Yeah, me too. I love the types of, the comics that push that boundary and then watch, and they know they're about to offend you. They know they're about to say something that's going to make you go, oh, and they don't want the laugh. They want you to say, oh, and then the moment that you do that is when they know they have you under their control. But at the same time, like with Eddie Murphy, I mean, he had two of the biggest comedy specials of all time in the 80s. However, ever since he'd stopped doing stand-up, it's 30 years later.
Yeah.
The things that he talked about then, because he touched on some really dark and very cultural, racial appropriative stuff. That's not a right word, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
What we talk about now, that'll be.
Yeah, I mean,
they said, I don't know if this is true, but at one point they were saying he was going to go out with Jamie Foxx.
That would be a good tour.
That would actually help them out because, I mean, who knows if he needs to get his chops back or whatever. I don't imagine he would do it if he didn't have his chops, but, you know, some time has gone by, like you said, Yeah,
exactly. I mean, I remember one of the jokes that he had back in the 80s that was on, I can't remember which special it was, but it was about how he didn't want to marry an American woman because they're too uptight. So he's going to go back to Africa and, grab an African woman and bring her back here because she'd be more appreciative. I don't know if you can tell that type of joke nowadays.
Right. I know.
Yeah. So, so I'm kind of curious to see what he's done. I mean, what he's doing and how he's adapting to today, being that it's been 30 years since he's been on stage in that leather suit, Oh
my God, the leather suit. Yeah. And Coming to America is Coming to America 2 is already done, I guess. I think it's done.
That's what I heard. Yeah, I think it is done.
So that'll be funny. But that's like everybody in the band. Like we every time we do a gig, somebody says some line from Coming to America. I'm like, we're so dating ourselves, but it's money. It's always funny. It never gets old.
Exactly. All right, so just we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and then we will be right back with more of April Doyle. Guys, I'm here to tell you all about the brand new revolutionary product from Manscaping today, the Lawnmower 3.0, a product that will not nick your sack and make sure that your manhood stays protected the entire time you are shaving. So do yourself a favor and go to manscaped.com and use promo code ShutUpCameron for 20% off the Perfect Package 3.0, which not only includes the Lawnmower 3.0, but it also includes Ball Toner, which helps prevent ingrown hairs. You get Ball Deodorant, which helps prevent chafing and man stank. You also get this awesome, sleek, stylish leather carrying case, all for $99.99. And when you use that promo code, you get 20% off. Also just released the Weed Whacker, the perfect nose and ear hair trimmer. So again, go to manscaped.com, use promo code ShutUpCameron for 20% off. Trust me, your balls will thank you. Guys, ever wonder how I get this manly beard looking so good? It's all because of Viking Revolution. And at Viking Revolution, not only can you get some great beard balms, but you can also get some great beard oils, as well as some awesome quick shower pads, which helps prevent you stanking up after the gym. Also, these great wet wipes, which help prevent, stanky after going doo-doo. And also some pomades and some other great products, all at Viking Revolution. So do yourself a favor, go to dcproductions.com/sponsors, click on the banner, and get yourself some of these great products. Viking Revolution. Join the revolution. All right, and we're back. What?
I really want to see your act now. That was good. I'm dying over here.
Hey, that was just me riffing. I didn't even work off a script for those.
No, that's funny. That is funny. Stank.
I love
anybody that is. Anytime you can work the word stank in, I feel good.
Hey, that ball deodorant gets rid of that man stank. Let me tell you, it does.
That's good. High five on that one.
Hey, I mean, when I first got that package in the mail, I'm like, ball deodorant, what the hell? And I'm like, oh, okay, that works.
There's a lot of dudes out there, I imagine, that would help them.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I promote it. That's why they are a sponsor.
Deep things, brothers.
Exactly. All right. So back to what we were talking about here. So, how did you get your start in music? I mean, I know you said that you were doing jingles and some other things, and only, within the last few years did you start doing your own original stuff. What was your path to where you're at today?
I was going primarily into acting, and I was doing I was doing a lot of theater, and I just thought that acting was going to be my main gig. And then I had a friend who just said, "Yeah, I'm getting together with some people tonight. Just come with us." And that turned out to be like one of the top corporate bands like in the US. It was a 60s act. Not in the 60s. It was all like bouffant hair and pink suits for the guys. It just, and people just ate it up because it was nobody else was doing it. Mm-hmm. So that was cool, and I enjoyed that. However, they weren't changing. They were kind of I don't know, it started to get a little tired. So I knew how to, and I was helping arrange, styling, choreography, etc. I'm like, I should just go on and do my own thing, because I know what's more socially like what people want right now, and went off and started Haute Chile Productions. So with one of the girls in the band, but she went off to Japan to do some other. They were into everything American, so she went to do her solo act over in Japan, and so I was just doing this myself, and it's still running. I mean, through all this crazy times, it's we're one of the, I marketed us out of California and all over nationally. So we do a lot of all the major agencies and production companies know who we are. We do a lot of high-end notable fundraisers, some celebrity stuff. We're not a wedding band. We have done some celebrity weddings, but we kind of get together with these corporations and customize an event like for their age. Like sometimes we'll do like an upper scale cocktail thing for dinner, and then do a costume change, come out and do like a show afterwards. Or sometimes, a lot of times, we'll open up for a headliner. We've opened up for Earth, Wind and Fire and Rod Stewart and Stevie Wonder and all the a lot of people that, like I said earlier, are a big part of their gig is this corporate entertainment thing. So we customize for those, and that's always interesting. I ask a lot of questions, and then customize the act. Who I put on the show, if they want the younger crew, or they want a mixy mix, or they want to, whatever they're trying, whatever their event is about. So that's how the set list is determined, and who I put on the show and all that. So I've learned how to finesse those gigs for those high-end clients.
How many musicians do you have working under you?
Probably about 20 that I will call from, depending on like what I said, like what kind of show it is, what kind of movie you want.
And they do separate things on the side too, right?
Oh yeah, they're all major. Like, a lot of them are industry guys in LA, and then like the song that you played, the La Belle, that's April on the Velvet Room, my original act. And the Velvet Room is, I always say, you don't know who you're going to find in the Velvet Room. And so I pick and choose depending on what the gig is about, where it is, etc. We were able to do a show right before everything shut down on March 8th. We were at Vibrato in Bel Air, which is Herb Alpert's club. And those dancers were there, and that's James T. He was on the last season of Masked Singer, and he's on Dancing with the Stars as well. He's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And so I had them come in and do a couple of numbers at the show, and then I had a female violinist come in, and she just really cool. She played with Eminem, and you said something about Eminem earlier, but I don't know what he would do to need a violinist. I was very curious. I wish I could have seen that video of what she did, but stunning girl, Angelina Cherie, and she sings and plays violin. And so we always have different people, you know, I always bring in some other, you know, who's not on tour. And my musical director goes out with J-Lo and the Jacksons. JP Castillo, everybody should check him out. He's unbelievable. He's big in Latin dance stuff, as well as some other interesting things. He performs with the orchestra in Costa Rica, and he goes out with the Jacksons and sings Michael's parts, and which was kind of iconic for him because that was his. The superstar of his life was Michael Jackson. So to be able to get to go out with them and, you know, kind of an homage to Mike, he's on stage singing the stuff and doing the dance steps and stuff, and so that's cool. But I'm very lucky to be surrounded with the level of talent that I have around me, for whether it's a corporate show or one of my original shows. It's very awe-inspiring. I'm always thrilled by who I get to work with.
That's quite awesome. That's quite amazing. Yeah. That, you know, you are definitely one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, it's cool. Knock on wood.
So, what do you have planned coming up for the rest of the year? Hopefully, do you have anything planned yet, or are you kind of playing it by ear?
I'm well, now that they've just announced today that they're going to allow some of smaller functions, like convention center. They said weddings, which, you know, whatever about the weddings, but I'm hoping that I still have things in the books. And a lot of them, my clients moved them into early next year. So I'm hoping that I just booked something in December. So I think people they want to feel secure and, you know, comfortable again. I'm kind of, you know, nobody needs what I do. What I do is a complete luxury. Nobody needs to have, you know, a party, you know, so it's kind of like, I'm just hoping that people start, you know, feel comfortable sooner than later.
Yeah. I'm gonna disagree with you partly on what you just said. You're right. Nobody needs a party. Okay. And especially not a corporate gig. However, everybody needs music. You know, so I think music, and now there's some people that just don't listen to music. All they do is listen to talk radio or, you know, listen to podcasts like mine or whatever the case might be. But music, I think, is an essential part of our culture. Yeah. So, I mean, with what you do, regardless if it's a corporate gig or, you know, being on stage, you know, for an actual concert, you know, I think what you do is essential. So, you know, whatever the case might be, I definitely think that you are needed in this world, and I'm grateful that you are here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And, you know, and I know that these shows, you know, even though it's corporate, I know that like it's the people, and it's really good for morale in these companies, you know, and like Mercedes one time took their top sellers to Hawaii to say thank you, and we were the band on the last night. That's the kind of thing that we do, and it's like it's a big deal for them, you know. And because the other thing that people don't think about is, even if you wanted to hire a headliner, how many songs do they have that, you know, it's not going to be able to fill an evening.
Yeah,
and a lot of them don't want to do covers, so. Yeah. You know, to get a band with the level of players like our band to come in and play a bunch of songs that is going to keep a party going, rather than a headliner coming in playing 4 songs that everybody knows, and then what? You know, it's an interesting deal. But
it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I mean, I think, and I tell people that people say to me, "Oh, I can't sing." And I'm like, yeah, but music, I think everybody has music, and it comes out of them in different ways.
Yeah. So I remember back with my old company, a few years back, we had our annual gathering, and we actually had Kansas perform for us.
Nice.
Which was actually kind of cool. And, you know, I didn't realize how many songs I knew from them, you know, Obviously Carry On My Wayward Son is their most popular song ever. So, I mean, I knew that one, but there was a lot of other songs like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't realize Kansas sung this. And I didn't, that was actually kind of cool. So, I mean, you're right. I mean, especially some of the older bands from the 80s and 70s, they do a lot of these corporate gigs now.
Yeah, like if you get a band like the Eagles, of course, I mean, they have so many hits. I mean, I don't even know all the, I mean, I appreciate them, but I don't sit and listen to them. But I mean, they're really great. And I know that bands like that have a lot of hits that could do a show that would keep I've done a lot of shows where one show they had Crosby, Stills and Nash come in, and they started playing and everybody was looking at them like, okay, like we're not going to dance. We're just going to hang out because you guys are icons. But it was a very odd thing. Like you could tell that the CEO of the company loved them. This has happened. We've seen this a lot. The CEO will hire them, have them come in, and the crowd's looking at them like, cricket, cricket. It's like it's not the right kind of music. You need to think about your group.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just think about, I mean, granted, they could be iconic, but you're not going to hire Carole King to come in and get raise the roof. It's not going to happen. It's like, nothing against her, but
Oh, no, I definitely agree with you on that. So where do you think the music business is going these days?
Well, that's a huge question. Partially a big part of it, what we already talked about, this, the average Joe being able to submit music on a lot of different levels. The industry, the entertainment industry is asking everybody for music right now because of Netflix, because of all those other channels that have TV shows, movies, etc. So there's a big surge right now of the industry is looking for music because of all this, the shows and channels and all that. It's collapsed on itself. I mean, big time. If you want to get your songs played out there on the radio you have to pay for it. Pretty much you're going to pay for it. There's pretty much not too many record deals that are that prevalent anymore. There's a handful of them, but unless you're a Disney kid or a America's Got Talent or I don't know what, of course I'm not saying a big enough arena of who they're looking at, and there are people that are being. It's just not. The record deals don't go out like they used to. It's just cut way back, and so it's everything is kind of shifted in a different way, and I'm not hitting on enough of the important details of the industry. But touring was done and that has come back. But X amount of years ago, there was just tours were just not happening. And now they're happening again, which is cool. That's a nice deal for everybody. Like we said, also submitting, dropping singles instead of EPs or full albums. That's kind of there's so many different things that have changed. The remakes are really cool. To redo a cover with a different song underneath it is cool. There's I don't know. It seems like the one thing I do like, even though I don't like everything I hear, is I like how many styles are out there now. It's more like Europe. It seems like there's more. It's not just one style that's getting all the attention right now. There's so many different things that people are listening to, like a lot of like rock, funk, electronica. There's so many different electronic types of music. I'm just saying electronic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like so many, and I look at Sirius Radio, which is in my truck. And I look at the stations that they're putting on there because that's what they're getting, what the call is for. And it's interesting, a lot of hip hop, a lot of it I won't talk about, even though I love hip hop, but I don't. There's so many people coming out now. I can't keep track of all of them. Like I don't know who a handful of them are. And it's kind of cool, but yet it's kind of odd.
Yeah.
There's a station for every, there's a 40s station, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yep.
And that's kind of cool. I mean, to be able to listen to the stuff that we all grew up with, when you feel like it. I'm glad that it's still being played. I don't know. Then there's a classical and jazz, and there's so many different levels of jazz. So many different.
Mm-hmm.
It's really outside. Some of it's like, as basic as like, a Nat King Cole classic or whatever. It's all beautiful. It's just kind of like a mood thing, and it's, so I don't know. I think it's, it seems like in the States, things have been more stylized. Like you have to be in a certain style, and Europe was more kind of all engaging. If it was done with integrity, like the music was good, then they liked it. It seems like we've eased up a little bit. I could be wrong. That's what it seems like to me. Like we're listening to more different styles of music now, and I still think there's, as we talked about earlier, a lot of synthetic stuff still going on.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when people really got sick of it a while ago, and then there was all these jingle jangle, like kind of country bands coming out with like people that could barely play, I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, I like to hear real stuff, but give me something.
Yeah. I remember, speaking of which, right in the heat of all that, I remember right before he died, Tom Petty said, give me a pen, a pad, and, a guitar. I'll write a hit country song within 5 minutes, because of, all the crap that was just coming out on that side.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of years, in my opinion, people were using country music as a gateway to get where they wanted to go. Like take Taylor Swift, for example. She came in on the countryside, and then as soon as she became popular, now I'm a pop artist, and so a lot of people have done that.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that at all. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I know a lot of people, one of my singers that on the video was out with her and decided she'd rather stay home with her family than go out with her again. She went out for one section of a tour and then came back, and I don't know. It's a pop machine, and obviously it's somebody who's ever really working the gears, knows what they're doing, because they're all going home with a lot of money. But I'm never going to sit there and listen to an album. I'm not going to. It's not dance. It's not. I mean, it's like bubblegum pop. It's like, I don't get it. That's me. That's me.
I firmly agree with you on that.
I don't get it. I'm like, it's not even cool. It's like, where's the voice isn't really killing me. The music isn't killing me. Oh, that's one of those. I sold my soul to the devil. I'm kidding. But I was going to say sold my soul to the devil thing, but she obviously has an upper scale background. That's a lot of that somebody in the industry making that happen, because there's a lot of people out there with way more talent that just can't push it to that level. It's so it's still so much of who in the business.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So you asked me earlier, and now I'm going to ask you, who do you think the greatest singer of all time is? Or, best guess estimate, or in your top 5 or whatever.
If I had to say top 5, I would have to say, I like different people for different reasons. Like there's certain people I like for a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It was just for really singing. Like I like Erykah Badu, but she's not going to be written up as some amazing singer, but the vibe at her concert and the vibe she gets with her songs, love that.
Mm-hmm.
I like for the classic stuff. When I was little, my mom used to. You probably don't even know who this is. Bobby Short. He had a gig at the Carlisle in New York. He was true cafe society. He went back and forth between New York and Paris, and Gloria Vanderbilt was his girlfriend, and he got major shit because of her. She was, they were biracial, and they nobody could take it back in the day, so people went nuts over it. Nancy Wilson, that's one of the songs I recorded, and Phyllis Hyman, Layla Hathaway, Tina Marie back then, James Taylor. Oh my God, there's nothing to do about anything R&B or anything. When I hear a James Taylor song, that's from being a kid, like my mom would play this for me as a kid. It's like his songs are like old friends. There's something really comforting about his voice and his songs. So it's, he's not doing cartwheels, but there's just something so comforting about. And his writing is beautiful. He writes little stories in his songs. But I like different people for different things. I like Prince, of course, but that was a full act. Raphael Sadiq, he's not a great singer, but talk about production, and he can write a hit song like nobody's business. And the way that he put the songs together, it would sound like some country guitar on a funk tune. I'm like, how in the world did you put a country guitar on a funk song and it works? Like that kind of brilliance. I get lit up over that kind of, when people can mesh those types of aspects of music in such a creative way, It's cool.
I love that. I mean, I love, mashups of, different types of genres too.
About that. How do you feel about country and rap coming together? It's like, I mean,
see, I'm not a.
You hesitated, so you don't need to say anything.
I'm not gonna say anything else about that. Now, when it comes to like rock and rap, I love that mixture when it's done right. Now, there's a lot of people that have tried it that's like, okay, please never do that again. But then at the same time, there's people that have done it fantastically that it's like, oh, yes. Like a prime example of it is Ice-T. I was going to say Ice-T. So, I mean, his band Body Count that he just recently put back together too within the last few years, released 2 new albums, and then he still has his rap career, still has his acting career. But, Ice-T is a prime example of what a rapper can do with some rock. And I love Body Count. That is an amazing metal band. I mean, and the first time I ever heard him, I'm like, I remember back in the 90s when it was Cop Killer. And, that was that song that blew up everywhere, and it blew up everywhere because not only was it a rapper doing rock, but it was also because of the content of the song. And then when he came back out with it, I'm like, man, this sounds just like what he did back in the 90s. So there's some good people that can do that, and there's some bad people that can do that.
Look at Run DMC and Aerosmith.
Great song. I mean, that was Walk This Way was a great song.
That was cool.
Yeah. I mean, and the original that did it was, I think it was Public Enemy with Anthrax did it back in the 80s as well. I think that was one of the first bands that ever did anything like that too. So, I mean, there's been a lot of examples of good stuff and evil in that realm.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you like Kid Rock?
I did his first album.
What do you mean?
Like when his first album that he came out with was a decent album. But every other, I haven't been a fan of him ever since. And I don't, even only then, that first album that he ever had with, there was only a couple of songs on there that were good, and there's only one song that's kind of stood the test of time with that album was Ball with the Ball, and that was about it.
Have you seen him lately?
No, I have not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I hadn't heard about him for a while, and all of a sudden I just saw a picture of him on the computer, and I was just like, oh, okie dokie.
Yeah. It's a funny thing. I mean, some of these rockers do not age at all, and some of them age horribly.
You know what? I went and saw Aerosmith a couple of years ago, and dude is hitting the same notes. They put on a show that, I mean, it has not changed.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Who else? Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi does not look like he's aged at all. That guy has survived the test of time as well.
I will tell you, this is weird. We got called to do this private show in Dallas, and Bon Jovi was on the show, and he got on stage. We assumed it was going to be Bon Jovi.
Mm.
It was him. It was full corporate. He played all Motown with like 3 backup singers and girls. It was really interesting. I'm like, there you go, corporate entertainment.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a trip, and it sounded great. But
it did, but
not what we expected.
Yeah, no. If I ever when I worked for a corporate company and they said, oh, we're gonna have Bon Jovi at our corporate, place, and then I went there and was expecting a certain thing, I heard that, I'd be pissed. It's like, where's living on a prayer?
Right.
God, I mean, that would just be weird to me.
Yeah, it is odd.
So, where do you see your career going in general?
Well, with this oddity going on, I'm kind of like, luckily I'm not going to be out on the street if I don't work. Luckily, I'm set up that way with my family business. So, just waiting patiently for things to kind of ease back into what they are. I've already reached out for the corporate and for my original project to try to put some things, whatever people are comfortable with, tentatively in the books or whatever. Just get something in the books. We put out 2 new videos for the corporate deal right before all this happened, and it's on the Haute Chile Productions. It's HAUTECHILE, like the Haute Chile Productions. Really great, and that's on HauteChilePR.com. If anybody wants to check it out and let me know what they think. And it's JP Castillo singing lead on there's a Latin dance medley, and then also just Bruno Mars, Poison, kind of a corporate melange, kind of other little. We put like little medleys together to show different styles of what we do for the corporate thing. So more promotional videos. I'm doing actually a photo shoot this Sunday for some more stuff for the April in the Velvet Room. We're doing another video. We have actually we're going to keep putting the songs out off the album. The whole album is done, but we're just going to do the single thing like you and I were mentioning earlier. Mm-hmm. And it just, kind of moving along. I've always got a lot going on. I just have to kind of, dole it out with what I feel is appropriate with what's going on in the industry and people's availability. And now everybody's really available. So now I want to, now that we can all go into the studio again and stuff, just keep recording this stuff so that we can get these more medleys done, mm-hmm. and then record video for them. And for, like I say, both projects, for the corporate band and for my thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you definitely know where you're going, and I hope everything works out for the best for you and the people underneath you and your fellow musicians and stuff like that. I mean, it's definitely an interesting time to be alive.
Yeah. Hey, and I want to see one of your shows. I want to see hopefully you get a tour going. I'd love to come and catch one of your shows.
Absolutely. Just prepare for some dirtiness.
You already killed me on those commercials, and I'm like,
yeah. I have a certain style. Put it that way. It's I tell my story of how I grew up, and right now that's my thing. Is my current set is just kind of how I came up, and my divorce and everything else like that, and it's an interesting little set. And
you can't have tender ears, right?
And you better have some thick skin, because it's a fun one. Like I said, I did a Zoom show about a week and a half ago, and I told one of my just horrible jokes. And I mean horrible, I mean like dirty horrible. Not, it's a funny joke. It's a great joke. It always kills, but it's just one of those jokes that just makes you go, ooh. And that's that's the reaction I look for.
Did it have to do with ball deodorant?
No, it had to do with a sensitive subject that I'm not going to mention on air right now because of all the Me Too stuff that's going on. So if that tells you anything. So I told that joke, and it was an immediate ooh, and I was like, yes, give it to me. And I even said to him, I go, guys, that is better than a laugh for me, so thank you very much. And then that just turned it into laughter, and I just kept on going. And I love that. I love it so much. I mean, that.
And you left, and the air was all out of your tires.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, luckily it was at home, so I didn't worry about that too much. If somebody felt like driving to Virginia just to let air out of my tires because of a sexually inappropriate, off-color joke, then I would be out thousands of dollars because I've told a lot of inappropriate jokes in my lifetime. But April, like I said, I'll definitely if I'm ever in town near you, I'll let you know.
Awesome.
But I appreciate what you're doing. And for a rock guy to sit there and listen to your music the way I did the last few days getting ready for this interview, to not sit there and say, oh my God, another one of these, or okay, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. Nope. I actually sat there and listened to it and enjoyed every moment of it. And that speaks volumes for what you do. I'm
glad. Thank you for saying that. I'm glad. And thanks for having big ears and checking it out. Absolutely. And I'll definitely be listening in for more. I cannot wait to hear your next song. Thank you. Well, if they can check it out, whatever, all my stuff that I have out there is on aprilandthevelvetroom.com. Mm-hmm. And we'll be definitely looking out for that next single. Awesome. Well, April, I appreciate you very, very much. And I hope everything works out for you. And I wish you the best in your future endeavors. Thank you. You too. All the best. All right. You too now. Bye-bye. Right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. Well, that was April Doyle of April in the Velvet Room and April of Haute Chile Productions. What a great, great lady. And again, and I wasn't just bullshitting. Her music is very, very, very good. She's got this funk, jazz, just interesting vibe about her music. And for someone like me, who's big on Ice Nine Kills and Slipknot and, all that craziness, for me to sit down and actually listen to that song or those songs, especially the one in French, Sans La Belle, it's like, it speaks volumes to what she's capable of. And I hope nothing but the best for her. So that's all I have tonight. I don't have any rants or anything else to think about. There's plenty in my mind, but I'm only allowed to say so much. But guys, I appreciate it as always. Thank you very, very much for being along on this journey that is the Suck It Podcast, the podcast where we tell everybody who ever told you to suck it up, to suck it. Keep your head and health strong. Make sure that you keep your mental health right. That is something that we have definitely got to focus on right now, especially with all this Black Lives Matter stuff and, the COVID stuff and everything that's going on in the world today. They say you can't have all lives matter until Black Lives Matter. And I 100% agree with that. But at the same time, you can't help others until you help yourself. So if you are struggling with your everyday life and you're struggling with your mental health, talk to somebody. Reach out. Just say something to somebody. There's so many different apps. There's so many different people. Even if it's just a family member, say something. It is nothing to play around with. Sometimes it just can be a chemical imbalance, or sometimes you need legitimate help. Not everybody can deal with it, and as a 39-year-old man who dealt with it for years and fought going to the doctor, and kept telling my wife for years upon years upon years that there's nothing wrong with me. There was something wrong with me. And
And, being quarantined right now and then turning on the news and just seeing all this stuff that's been going on, it's hard to not recognize that there might be something wrong with you if yeah, you know what I'm saying. So again, if you see something within yourself that concerns you, say something. Don't attempt to crash your car like I did. Don't take that leap. Don't take those pills. Don't do it. Your life is too precious. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think about yourself. Your life matters. And I'm going to put it like that. So I'm not going to say all lives matter because I don't believe that. It's Black Lives Matter, because you can't have all lives matter until Black Lives Matter. But in the case of mental health, your life matters. Bottom line. 2018 was a long way away. And that was when I almost did it to myself. Don't become a statistic. Make sure that you fight the fight for yourself. I don't care what anybody says, suicide is a selfish act. Because all it does is end up hurting the family around you. Just when you think you can't take it anymore, you can. Trust me, you can. I've been there. And until you own up to who you are and own up for the things that you say and do on a daily basis, then you're going to think there's no hope left. But until you say, oh, I'm bipolar, no problem, I'm good with that. Or, oh, I have depression, or I have a severe anxiety, or whatever the case might be. Until you can actually own up to that and say it and not care, like I don't care. I don't care that I'm bipolar. I don't. I take my pills. I have my podcast. I have my friends. I have my family. I have comedy. I have outlets to make sure that I don't end up a statistic anymore, because I know I'm better than that. And you need to know that you're better than that. Everybody that's listening right now, whether it be live on Twitch or Facebook, or tomorrow morning on your way to work, I don't care what problems you have going on in your life. Nothing is as bad as it seems. It always gets better. And sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. Believe me, it does. But the things that you have, if you're dreading going to work, or, you're dreading coming home, or whatever the case might be, if you feel something's wrong, say something. I almost made the worst decision of my life on my wife's birthday. So I can speak to this, and I can say what I want to say about it. And I know that everyone's different, and not everybody's story is the same. I completely get that. And I'm not afraid to, admit that either. But what you need to understand is this. Nothing is more important than you. And I'm looking at the camera now because I'm talking to you. What you have going for you in your life, I don't care if you're single and alone and have no family still alive, or whatever the case might be. There's somebody in your life that loves you. There's somebody in this life that would miss you. And all you're doing is now putting that burden on them. Bottom line. Again, love yourself, love each other, and stay healthy. Don't become a statistic. Break the stigma of mental health before that stigma breaks you. Especially in today's times. You are needed in this world. We all are. Because we need to stand up hold hands, and stand in unity to make a change in this country. And if you weren't there to help us with that, that's one less person to help. But it's also tens, maybe hundreds of people that now miss you because of what you decided to do too. And that's only going to add to the hurt and to the loss that we feel in this country. Don't become a statistic. Love yourself. Bottom line. I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Me and Nicole will be back here tomorrow with Terrence Patterson, CEO of Paragon Multimedia. And we will have some fun. A full week this week. Again, then Thursday we have Kid Capri coming on. Grammy award-winning producer and DJ Kid Capri. Gotta mention Grammy award-winning. And then Friday we have Ashley Brinton, otherwise known as AB, coming on the show. So that'll be an interesting conversation. And I'm really looking forward to that one. And let me tell you why, because it's going to be just me again. Nicole will not be involved in that one. And for those of you who don't know, you can go ahead and kind of check her out on Instagram at Ashley Brinton, Brinton. She is a female rapper. She's 19 years old. And it's going to be a very interesting conversation. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be as respectful as I can because I have no reason to disrespect her. So don't go sit there saying, oh, the metalhead's going to, mess with the fucking, rap person. No, I'm not going to fucking do that. And if you think I'm that way, you're right, but I'm not going to do it on Friday. So, I respect her. I respect everybody that comes on the show because they're giving us their time, and I would never disrespect anybody. So, but I'm looking forward to that for a couple different reasons, and we'll find that out on Friday. But until then, I appreciate you guys. Stay healthy, stay heavy. I bid you adieu, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Good night, guys.